Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Karen Odd and these are Karen's Oddities. This is part of a series of my rule book that I think that people should live and abide by. There are a series of rules. I mentioned them in my video that I did earlier this week, so please check it out on rule number 10. So as I mentioned in that first video, essentially I have a notebook of different rules that I've wrote over the last 2.5 years that I think are super important for people to follow. Highly recommended, maybe not so much follow, but highly recommended. And I'm just going to randomly flip through. I have 3 pages of rules written, 4 pages of rules written. So let me just, I'm gonna go to page 2 this time. And I'm just going to place my finger up and down the sheet and decide when I feel compelled to stop. Rule number 82 is where we landed. And rule number 82 is very important, as are many of these rules. Rule number 82 says only ask questions when you are prepared to receive the answer. So we're going to start from the simplest meaning of this rule to the more complex meaning of this rule. So first, the simplest reason or explanation for this rule is simple. If you have a question, you need the answer, but you're not really prepared to receive it, interpret it, or apply that answer, don't ask the question yet. It could be as simple as you want someone to give you a phone number that you need to write down, but you don't have the pen and paper in hand. You need a minute for that answer, right? That is a simple way to interpret this rule. The more complex way to interpret this rule is even more simple. If you have a question in mind, but you are not open to receiving the answer, or you are not ready to receive an answer that you may not want to hear, an answer that you may disagree with, an answer that you will fight, an answer that you will receive under the state of denial, then don't ask that question. And I think that when I wrote this rule, I was leaning more towards the complex explanation of it. Oftentimes, we may think we're ready for answers, but we're not always necessarily ready. Or we pressure for answers simply because we want to close a chapter or close a question or lingering thought, a hangnail, for lack of better words, in our minds, in our thoughts. When I wrote down this rule, sometimes I can remember what headspace I was in when I wrote down my rules. Sometimes I can't. I know it was a question about honesty. Someone was asking me a question. They were asking me to be honest, which sometimes I get frustrated when people tell me don't lie or be honest or tell me the truth. And my thing is, first of all, you're assuming that I wasn't going to tell you the truth and that I'm not an honest person. I usually always answer honestly, even when it's difficult to do so. There's always ways to say things and say things truthfully in a way that don't hurt people, in a way that does not come off as rude or inconsiderate. That's always possible. You just have to think and choose your words wisely and have a array of words and vocabulary to choose from, right? And formulate your thoughts clearly before you issue them. But at this time in my life, I'm pretty sure it was some type of relationship or connection, whatever you want to call it. I like calling things connections these days because that's what they are. Haven't been in a relationship since 2020. I've been in a lot of connections, but they're not relationships. I think I was in some sort of connection and the person, it came back to me. Short story time. We have time. I want to make these videos 10 minutes, but I think I can tell you guys the story of that connection. I was dating someone and they might watch this video. So I just need to think wisely if I want to share. I was dating someone and I remember we went out on a date around this time and we were at the date enjoying ourselves. I don't remember how long we had been seeing each other connected, however you want to call it. And the person proceeded to ask me, if I have ever lied to them before. And I said yes, because I had. And I don't think I had blatantly lied, but I think that I had omitted information, which is a form of lying, but I was honest about it. You asked me the question and I was honest about it. And of course that led to an argument, because why wouldn't it? But that is where that rule came from. That's the short story on that dating experience of mine. But yeah, essentially, like, I think it's important, going back to the point of this video, when we have questions and we feel so pressed for an answer, I think it's really important to reflect on why that answer matters so much to us. Why do we feel like we need it? And I have another rule in here, which I'm not going to search for it because it's going to be part of a future video. But essentially the rule talks about how we have to accept that there are things that we're never going to know, things that we're never going to understand. And I won't get into that deeply because, again, there's going to be a video on it. But essentially, again, this rule, number 82, is only ask questions when you're prepared to receive the answer. And that is in the most basic form and in the most in-depth form. If you are going to ask a difficult question, if this is a question of someone you love, someone you care for, if this is a question where that answer is going to change your life, change your trajectory, change the position that you are heading in, change your future, change your thoughts or views about someone, you really have to sit with the question and ask yourself before you even speak the question is, why does this answer matter to you so much? Is it, is not having the answer, does that go against your values? Ask yourself why you need to know, why you feel that you need to know that. And ask yourself, are you okay with maybe receiving an answer that's not what you thought it was going to be? Are you okay with receiving an answer that may potentially distort the version that you have of this person, distort the relationship, the idea, or the plan or plans that you had for a person or a thing or an idea? You have to be prepared for that. There are going to be a lot of times where we get information that is not in alignment with what we want it to be, what we thought it was going to be. And I think that with that, again, easier said than done, it's going to be a matter of being okay with that and believing and trusting that there's a reason even when we don't understand it. There's a reason why things don't work out. Relationships, connections, jobs, offers, moves, plans, wins, losses. There's a reason for all of these things, right? And it's likely because it's connecting us to what is really meant to be there, what's really meant to be besides us, what we are truly meant to be connected to. So think wisely, choose wisely, and reflect before you ask a question. Reflect about what that answer means to you, and be prepared to accept that you may not receive the answer that you want to receive. Thank you guys for watching. I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts on this rule number 82. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.